last 5 years, I've developed a habit of asking people anywhere I go, it didn't matter where I was, conferences, seminars, even supermarkets, this one question: do you love your job? The most profound response I got was from an elderly customer service advisor. He looked at me like he was a bit annoyed. Why would you ask me that question? And then he had pain and regret written all over his face. And then he said to me, I have always, all my life, wanted to be an artist, but it's never going to happen because it's too late. Now, 95% of the people I've asked this same question have said no. And that's quite staggering. The response that I would like is, I love my job. I love what I do. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. And so one of the most common questions that I often get in my HR capacity is, how do I get a new job? And so when Thelma, this beautiful, elegantly dressed and articulate lady, walked into my office and started to share with me the pain and anxiety that her job was causing her, completely broke down uncontrollably, I wasn't totally surprised. She went on to confide in me that she had undergone a series of counselling sessions as a result of the deep-seated issues that the job was causing her. And as a matter of fact, she was on medication for depression. So I looked at her and I said, I don't have a solution, but I'll have to think about what I do, so I'll come back to you, even though I was moved and filled with so much compassion. So round about a week later, I had mapped out a proposed way forward. I shared it with Thelma, and instantaneously I could see her countenance change because hope seemed to have returned. So Thelma allowed me to walk with her the journey to finding a fulfilling career over a 3-month period. And that was amazing. Now, a year later, I reflected on why was I touched so deeply by Thelma's story, and I realized I was staring in the mirror. I had been there before, waking up every day to the thought of going into the office, making me feel sick, dreading every single day, going into work at 9 o'clock, looking at the clock, thinking, is it going to be 5 o'clock soon? I'm going to have to go, not wanting to stay there a minute over and beyond my contractual hours. Going into meetings really late because I just couldn't be bothered and I thought it would be a long one and I couldn't be bothered to be there for too long. Not wanting to develop really nice relationships with amazing people in the workplace. Shying away from the really hard components of my job because I just didn't want to do any more. So stretch assignments that could enable me to be more and do more, wasn't interested in it. Now, sadly, the reason why I kept going back to the job that I so detested was because I had to sustain my young family. Therefore, it was no surprise when I was on the cusp of being performance managed, which later developed into a difficult conversation. So one of those that you have, if you're a boss, you will understand this. One of those difficult conversations you have to have. And I felt it brewing. I knew it was coming, but it's one of those that you think, oh, maybe not. Will it come to that? But it did. So, the director calls me into the office and says, Kemi, this is no longer tenable. Off you go. Contract ended, and that was it. And that was the lowest point of my entire career. In my 23-year history, that was the lowest point ever. I felt worthless, incompetent. I felt like I'd let myself down. I felt like I'd let my family down. I just felt like, what am I going to do? And then all of that led me to feelings of depression. Now, research by Jonathan Derlam suggests that mental health issues happen. So you're highly likely to be affected by mental health issues in your 40s if you are consistently unfulfilled at work in your 20s and 30s. There's a very strong correlation between unfulfillment at work, job satisfaction, and mental health. A meta-analysis undertaken by Farah and Cooper found really strong links in this study between depression, anxiety, and burnout. Now, most people think burnout's because you do a bit too much. No, burnout arises as a result of you investing your time, energy, resources in the type of work that doesn't make you come alive or matter to you. And the World Health Organization classified burnout as, so they actually included it in their international classification of diseases, so it's quite serious. And the world of work is adjusting to this whole new thing about mental health, and it's an ever-increasing concern. So they're introducing amazing initiatives and well-being packages and all these amazing things, which is great. I'm a beneficiary. I've got access to all these amazing apps to keep me well. But it doesn't fundamentally address the root cause of mental health. So, is this a new pandemic affecting people across the globe? My submission to you today is that mental health is another pandemic, like the COVID pandemic, affecting people in the workplace, and unfulfillment at work has a major role to play in it. So, lack of fulfillment in the workplace, it stems from a situation where you're not able to deploy your strengths, talents, experiences, and passion. And so employers also suffer inadvertently because they underutilize people's talents. And that, according to Lean, is classified as the 8th waste. So what do? You're an individual who's unfulfilled at work, you're unhappy. How can we start to solve this problem? We can start by looking at 2 different states and ask yourself this question: are you fit or fit? So that might sound a bit confusing. I'll explain it to you. The first fit is the lowercase fit, fit. And it speaks to an individual in the workplace who is frustrated, irritated, and traumatized, like Thelma. The second fit is the capital letter fit, which is where we all want to be. Are you fulfilled? Let me follow up with these 3 important questions. How do you feel on a Sunday night when you think about going into work? Question 2. What's the most creative thing that you have done in your workplace in the last 6 months? Question number 3. Are you able to deploy your skills, your talents, your strengths, your passion, your experiences in the job that you do? The chances of you being fulfilled, impactful, and transformational are very high when you're able to deploy your strengths consistently in your job. So, like Thelma, are you beautiful on the outside, but frustrated, irritated, and traumatized by something someone has said to you in the workplace or an occurrence that has happened in the workplace, just because you are unfulfilled at work? I urge you to instead spend 65% of your awake time in a job that makes you come alive, knowing fully well that eventually it will catch up and you might be a victim of mental health. Now, up until now, there seems to have been very little awareness about the correlation between unfulfillment at work, job satisfaction, and mental health. And so I think it's time now, it's more critical now than ever before, particularly in this uncertainty climate that we exist in, which has been heightened by the COVID pandemic, to make sure that the work you do is the right fit for you. My story birthed a career fitness framework, and it really got me out of that dark hour in my career. And I certainly helped Thelma resolve her career frustrations and trauma just using this framework. So, as a career coach and senior HR professional today, I use this a lot with a number of people in my coaching sessions, masterclasses, and workshops. And I've seen the transformation in my clients in terms of them being fulfilled. And I can most certainly say it's really transformed lives because you cannot separate work from life. So, even though I felt incompetent at the time, what did I start to do? I started to look inside of me to say, hold on, I am worthy. I do have amazing things within me. Did an introspect to unearth all the strengths, my talents, my critical experiences, and my passion. I then critically reviewed the relationships that I had formed over time, the valuable networks, just to determine my own value, my impact, as well as how to reposition myself. So, following through that framework enabled me to find the golden thread, and that was the clincher for me. So, for you, it may be that you adopt the same approach in terms of using that, what I did, and I'm sure it would help you at least determine whether you're in the right job or career, or you need to move organization, or you need to embark on a completely total different career pathway. But whatever you do, make a decision to step out of that place of frustration so that you can move forward and step into that career that will give you the fulfillment you desire and deserve. Thank you.